everyone. I hope that you guys are doing well today. We are excited to see you. I have actually been really looking forward to making a video. It's been a long week and I feel like this is so relaxing for me, and so I have been really looking forward to getting the opportunity for this. And I picked out an outfit a while ago and I cannot wait to put it on him. I picked out this little Love Baby romper. Super duper soft and warm, and then I was going to have a long sleeve onesie underneath of it. I picked this elephant one by Cat and Jack, but if that looks weird for whatever reason, I think it'll be fine, but you know, I have a white onesie just in case. And then I may or may not put socks on him. If he was a real baby, he would definitely need socks, but I kind of like looking at his cute little toes. So it might not be super realistic, but you know, you know how it is with the dolls. You can kind of just do whatever, and you know, the baby's not going to care, you're not going to care. So anyway, today I just wanted to kind of talk about the journey of a reborn collector, and I've been thinking about this topic for a while, just kind of reflecting on my own experiences, and then since I've been in the hobby for so long, I've gotten to see a lot of other reborn collectors kind of grow in the hobby as well. And so I just kind of wanted to chat about it. It's a little bit more of a general topic, so there's like a lot of different avenues that this could go, so it's going to be exciting. But first I kind of just wanted to talk about, I feel like a lot of people lately, I've been listening to a lot of videos on my way home since I have a long drive, and a lot of the videos that I've been hearing have kind of talked about starting your journey as a reborn collector as like a very negative experience, and I'm not exactly sure why. Like, a lot of people say like, oh, when you start out, like, you're not going to be able to get the doll you want, and it's going to be disappointing, and you're not going to like enjoy the hobby until you get a really expensive nice doll. And I don't know if that's exactly what they meant in the video, right? Like, it's kind of up for interpretation. But the way they were talking about it kind of just seemed like, oh, like, you know, the start is rough. And I just don't think that it is. I mean, of course, in the last video I talked about scams, and that's definitely the rough, scary part of starting it. But I feel like once you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, and you find like a good reputable place to buy reborns, and you get a nice reborn, I mean, of course not like a prototype doll, but you know, like one that's a couple $100, you know, good starting range. I feel like it's a lot of fun. Actually, I feel like your very first box opening is the most special, magical thing ever, even if it's not like the most realistic doll ever. It's just like you're experiencing a whole new amazing thing. And you know, my first doll was pretty inexpensive, and her vinyl was like really hard because I think it cooked too long, and she wasn't super realistic, and her hair was falling out. But it was like, oh gosh, I could even still like remember that feeling when I unwrapped her, and I was just like over the moon. I thought she was the most like realistic looking thing ever. And you know, as I, you know, continued collecting and I was able to discover more, I feel like each doll that I got, I was even more surprised and impressed by. Of course, you know, you're gonna have a couple little mishaps. You're like, oh, that doll like was not really worth it. I don't love it as much as I thought I was going to, right? Or that's not really what I was looking for. But you know, overall, I feel like the direction points up, right? It gets better as you continue collecting. But I really don't feel like this start should just be like, oh, like you're not gonna get what you want, but you know, keep going at it. I think that's really weird, just considering how amazing I thought everything was when I first started. And so I don't know why his neck just looks like weird in that position. I think it's just how his arm is falling. Anyway, so if you are a new collector and going into it and you're seeing all these like negative, like, oh, you're not going to be like that impressed at first, or it's not going to be like very magical, don't listen to those people, okay? It's going to be wonderful. You're going to love it. and you're going to have so much fun with your new doll. And I feel like when you first get into the hobby, it's like you're a little kid and the whole world of Reborns is new and exciting, and I really love that. I mean, you can still find new and exciting things as you continue collecting, but you know, when you're first in there and you're learning all of the lingo and all the artists and sculptors, and you have all these great picture ideas and video ideas, and you know, you're figuring out different clothing brands, and you're creating a nursery. Oh my gosh, I loved, you know, designing my first nursery. It was probably one of the most fun projects that I did with my dolls. I loved it. And so I think, you know, all of us experience things differently, but that was just my personal experience. And I feel like a lot of other people have very positive experiences going in. And so I think that, yeah, if you're new, just have fun. Enjoy the ride. That's really what I'm trying to say. Just enjoy the ride. And like the other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is like a lot of people sort of have this expectation of like, if you've been in the Reborn hobby for this long, you should have like this certain type of doll, like, you know, oh, if you've been in the hobby for 10 years, you should be collecting prototype dolls, or, you know, like, a lot of people who have really nice dolls kind of paint this picture of, oh, this is how I got to this point. But I think, you know, it's also important to say that, you know, not everyone progresses the same. Just because you're in the hobby for 10 years doesn't mean that you can afford a high quality silicone doll. Because we all have, you know, different amounts of funds, and we all kind of sell and buy differently. So I feel like I've progressed relatively slowly in this hobby. I do have some very, very nice dolls. I'm not going to lie about that. I never thought that I would be spending this much on dolls. But yeah, now, you know, I say never, because, you know, anything could happen. But yeah, I still could not afford a high quality silicone by any means whatsoever. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm a little bit more of a slower seller and buyer. I, at this point in time, really only buy a new doll once a year, twice maybe if I go a little crazy. And I've never really been the type of person who brings dolls in and lets dolls go very quickly. Even when I was new in the hobby, I would say I bought maybe up to 3 dolls a year. That even sounds a little high, probably more like 2 or 3, and which means I also had to sell 2 or 3. So there's that. And then there's also just like the amount of time that you spend in the hobby, and not just like length over time, like years, if that makes sense, but also just like, you know, this is my very first time even touching my dolls this week, and it's already Wednesday. And so, you know, I feel like when you spend more time in the hobby, you buy and sell and put more money into it. And, you know, not everyone is able to do that. And sometimes you take like a year or 2 break, and you're not buying and selling at all, and you're not putting any money into the hobby whatsoever, and that's okay too. So yeah, just basically everyone's journey is different, and there shouldn't be like certain expectations, because like I said, I know people who have been in the hobby for only like 2 years and they already have like prototype dolls, really, really expensive, high quality. And then I also know people who have been in the hobby for probably longer than I have and are still kind of collecting mid-range price dolls, and they still love it. And, you know, you don't need to have expensive prototype dolls to enjoy the hobby, I guess, is like a big overarching point that I'm trying to make. I've enjoyed this hobby every single step of the way. I enjoyed it when I had dolls that were, you know, like around $200, and I've enjoyed it when I've had my really, really nice dolls that I think are definitely prototype quality. I have Mr. Bowie, who was painted by a prototype artist, and then, oh, Cupcake Fairy Joe, if you guys didn't know, or Cupcake Fairy Creations, I guess is her nursery name. And then I also have Winona, who was created by Precious Paz, who has done a ton of prototypes. So none of my dolls are like actual prototypes, but they're prototype quality, in my opinion, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I'm really, really happy with my collection. And since I do spend less time in the hobby, I also have less dolls. So, and that's another thing too, is, you know, if you've been in the hobby for a while, doesn't necessarily mean you have a huge collection either. So everyone's different. And that's what I like about this hobby too, is, you know, everyone collects so differently and everyone does different things with their dolls. Just interesting. That's why I really like being on social media. Let's see, I don't think that a sleeper was supposed to go underneath of this, so it's a little wonky. I think I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. Let's see. Why does that look like that? I think it's just a little tight. I think I might unbutton that. Does that look funny? A little bit. Now you guys are just hearing my inner monologue here. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And I still have not loosened, which arm was it? Oh, maybe they loosened on their own. Just kidding. This looks pretty good. There was one arm that I did a little bit too tight when I was stuffing him, and I was kind of worried about it, but it seems good. And his legs are fine. I did the legs pretty well. So, he is so cute. I'm so happy with him. I can't wait for my little Christmas break. I'm gonna be able to spend so much time, well, maybe not so much, but more time than usual, and that's gonna be wonderful, that's for sure. No socks, we're gonna keep the feet bare. Alright, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I am kind of curious about your guys' reborn journey. Like, how long have you guys been here? And what point do you think you're at, or what point do you want to be at, or, you know, anything like that. Let's just have a little discussion. And if you guys have any more video requests, let me know. I do have a fair amount of ideas that I can do with you guys, but if you have any more, I'd love to hear them. And happy holidays, everyone. See you in the next video.